Hi, welcome to this part of my review featuring the Neon Lords of the Toxic Wasteland Core Rulez. If you haven't seen the other parts of this review, or my review featuring the solo rules, please check out the playlist in the description below. This time we are going to talk about character creation. The character creation process consists of 8 steps. First, you roll 3 6-sided dice. For each of your 6 ability scores, write down the list. You can swap one ability score for another just once. You choose between 11 classes. Each one has their own special abilities and sweet moves. You roll 3 6-sided dice for your class ability points. I will explain what these are in a few moments. Then you choose which hairstyle best fits your character. You really have to ask yourself, what style says I'm here to melt goblin faces, but at the same time I like to party? Then you add up modifiers gained from your class and hairstyle and adjust your ability scores accordingly. You roll up hit points, then you roll up your starting gold and snack up all the additional stuff you may need on top of your starting gear. Don't forget to hire some dudes. Then you try not to die. When it comes to the prime ability scores, they are burliness, prowess, endurance, brains, attitude, sleaze, and fortune. The class ability score is rolled the same way, but should be considered a sub-ability score. If your Neon Lord is a benevolent lord, he or she may actually allow you to toss away the character that you created if it's too much of a wimpy character, and create a new one. If this newly created character is still too weak, you can sacrifice that character to the Chaos Gods to gain 1d4 to the ability score of your choice. This ability is chosen prior to rolling the 3d6 and the d4, so you will still have a chance to create a new character. However, the ability bonus gained from the 4-sided die that you roll is also added to your Sleaze ability. I will talk more about Sleaze in a few moments. And of course, you will get ability score modifiers that you can use in different rolls and checks, depending on how high a particular ability score is. Now let's talk about each of these ability scores. First we have burliness. Burliness measures how swole the player character is, how well they pick up heavy things, their ability to kick down doors, and how well they hit. Things like that. And a burliness of 18 adds a bonus to your attitude because sick muscles get you far in life. Then we have prowess. Prowess measures coordination, how good one is with their hands, and the ability to throw and shoot. So it's mostly related to finesse and coordination. You will be able to dodge quite effectively, and with a prowess of 18 you get a bonus to your chance of sneaking around. Then we have endurance. Endurance measures overall health and resistance to pain, disease, and poison. An endurance of 18 will grant you the ability to ignore death saves from poisons. Next we have brains. Brains measures the ability to discern information, retain knowledge, and read and write. A brains of 18 gives you additional 1d6 for the spell pool. We will talk more about that in a future part of this review. Next we have attitude. Attitude measures how cool, cocky, and persuasive the player character is, and how easily they can talk their way out of a bad situation. An attitude of 18 gets you a mid-shield follower at the beginning of the game, and at the end of any long rest conducted within humanoid sectors. Next we have class-based ability scores. You roll 3 6-sided dice for the character's class-based ability, which is determined after you choose a class. Each class specialty is represented by its class abilities. The Deathbringer, for example, is Fury, to signify them as skilled masters of the sword in combat, and the War Wizard has Chaos, which signifies the forces that make magic possible and their manipulation of it. All while the Cosmic Barbarian's cosmic points represent the drugs they inhale to possess superhuman powers. These are just some examples. These points can be spent to add any roll that involves a class-specific task. The Deathbringer can add points to any combat roll, adding to his hit or damage, tipping the scale in his favor in battle. Or the War Wizard could spend extra chaos to ensure his spell will hit the intended target. However, when too many points are used up, that's when things go south quickly. If the character has 5 or fewer points left, then they begin to roll on the class ability chart for that class. For example, if a Deathbringer has 5 points left and he attempts to spend a point to add to his melee attack, he must roll on the chart. Once they have 5 points remaining, it represents fatigue and exhaustion. Points can only be spent on class-specific rolls. When a character has 5 points or less and they attempt to pay under the threshold, they roll on the class ability chart. Class ability points are regained at every long rest at 1d6 points per long rest. If 5 or more points are spent on one roll, it drains the character, dealing damage per points spent. At every long rest, a player character regains 1d6 lost class ability points. They cannot go over their starting number of points this way. Next we have Sleaze. You roll 3d6 for the character's Sleaze score. It measures your overall likability and credibility. The Sleaze modifier is added to any rolls in situations where Sleaze would be a factor, including but not limited to interactions with hirelings after they witness you doing unspeakable acts, being a mutant or possessing any mutations, or bartering within the black market. When would Sleaze be called into a roll, you may ask? Generally, when it is deemed necessary and logical by the Neon Lord. The difference between attitude and Sleaze is that dudes with a high attitude and low Sleaze are well liked and trusted within the humanoid sectors, but treated with suspicion and distrust in the wastelands and free cities. In these lawless societies, the slimeball factor doesn't exist, and dudes with high Sleaze get along just fine. Beyond the sectors, in the wildness of the wastelands, Sleaze is king, but within the walled cities of the sectors, being a scuzzbucket doesn't get you very far. Now let's talk about Sleaze and Holy Smiter. Being a man of faith, it's important to walk this straight and narrow and not piss off the gods. To represent this in the game, the Holy Smiter cannot gain a Sleaze ability score greater than 12. If you intend to make a Holy Smiter but roll greater than 12 for your Sleaze and can't swap with another stat roll, you may reroll a new Holy Smiter or become a Fallen Smiter from the beginning of the game. However, you get a couple of additional perks. You choose a handgun or a pistol, and you get resistance to the negative effects of one drug of choice. And what happens when you get a Sleaze of over 18? Sleaze is the only ability score that can, and probably will, go above 18. There are pros and cons to this. When it comes to pros, it opens the ability to become a wasteland warlord and own a fortress and command hordes of mutants. A Sleaze of 19 or above gets you a mutant shield follower at the beginning of the game, and at the end of any long rest conducted within mutant occupied territory. A mutant shield is like a mid shield, they just also roll on the minor mutation table. When it comes to cons, kiss your home sector goodbye, for you will be terminated on sight if you ever step foot in a humanoid sector again. Detroit Prime has files on every creature with a 19 above Sleaze and tracks their every movement, so much as put a toe over the Shrapnel City border and you can kiss that little piggy goodbye. Every humanoid, including your party, will never aid you in any capacity. At the end of every long rest, each member of your party rolls 1d6. On a 6, they wish you were dead, and today may be the day they put you in the ground themselves. It's up to the player character who rolled this, but I also think that it would be quite fun for the Neon Lord to have a say on this matter. Maybe he can force a player character to attack or pull the rug from under the hated character's feet. That way the characters aren't going to feel like they are getting backstabbed by the other players, and it wouldn't be too disruptive for the party, at least when it comes to a mature player party. But that's just my opinion, you can handle it however you like. Next we have Fortune. The gods all meddle in the affairs of humanoids for sheer spectacular entertainment. From Lord Randy himself on his golden throne at the tippy-top of the world to the Lord of the Dead in the Hell Cell. This divine intervention is represented in fortune points. You roll 3 6-sided dice for the character's fortune score. Fortune measures sheer dumb luck. The gods and other worldly beings like to meddle with the affairs of mortals from time to time, affecting their fortune. so you can spend fortune points towards rolls. Luck is represented by a pool of points that are rolled for during character creation. This pool never refills naturally. This means that unlike class ability points, fortune points don't get regained at a long rest. Once they are spent, they are gone forever. However, there are magical and supernatural means by which fortune points can be regained. There are some limitations to the points though. They cannot make any roll become a critical success or be added to any death saving throws, and they can only be added to your own rolls. Also, there is a bad luck table. If a character reaches 0 fortune points, you roll on a chart at the end of every long rest. Dwarflings, being tied to Lady Luck herself, roll on the bad luck chart located in the Dwarfling class section instead. Now let's talk about some of these results. Maybe your body starts to change in a radical way. You roll on the minor mutation chart. Maybe you can't stop hiccuping. You receive a -2 penalty to all rolls until the end of your next long rest. Or maybe you get the result of, I'm getting too old for this shit. Just not swinging the sword or waving the wand like you used to. Natural 20s are no longer criticals, and you fumble on a roll of 1 to 5. However, there could be some positive effects. For example, someone or something is looking out for you. You regain 1 fortune point, and you suffer no other effects. Next, we have information on hairstyles. If you like all of those post-apocalypse, crazy hairdos like in Fist of the North Star, this is the section for you. The most important step in character creation. What hairstyle best suits you and how you wanna look while decimating mutants in the Neon Wastelands. You choose one of the hairstyles listed and make sure you add the bonuses and abilities you gain from it on your character sheet. Let it be known that you can have some sort of facial hair, but only one hairstyle will grant you a bonus. Hairstyles in Neon Lords of the Toxic Wasteland, just like real life, aren't permanent. You need to search for a glam lord to alter your hairstyle to fit your current needs. And just take a look at the different hairstyles. You have the Pompadour, you have the Cindy, like Cyndi Lauper, you have Mountain Man, you have Huckleberry, and they all have specific effects. One style could give you a bonus to your attitude. Another one could allow you to hide a small object in your beard, but this is always dirty and full of crumbs, gaining a +2 to sleaze. You look like a hobo. Maybe you get an anti-gravity hairstyle that defies science and is a spectacle to behold, granting you a +3 to attitude and a 60% chance to barter down shop prices. Let's take a look at other styles. You have the Mohawk, of course, the mullet, the death metal, the slick daddy. More effects related to this are, maybe your hairstyle adds +3 to your sleaze. It's ninja approved. Ninja stars actually deal an additional +1 damage because of this hairstyle. Or maybe you have long, epic hair flowing like hot lava down your back, adding +2 to your starting class based ability score. But if not of equestrian descent, the mane cannot be tamed and deals 1 damage to you every time you make an attack. Or maybe your hair looks like some sort of winged creature that is resting on top of your head. It lets you add or subtract 1 on the drug effects table. And these are just some of the different hairstyles and effects. There are a total of 22 different hairstyles. Next we have details on language. All humans and humanoid varieties can, for the most part, speak Common, the tongue of the Forgotten Age as found in ancient texts. Monsters speak a language of their own, and have a small percentage chance of understanding Common, and an even lesser chance of speaking it. Additional languages can be learned, however, some cannot be spoken by the human tongue, although they can be understood. So you have languages such as Demonic, Binary, Bro God, Esoteric, Lich, Vermin Folk. Some of these languages have very peculiar things, like for example, Binary can't be spoken by humans, Bro God is a divine language, and Goblinoid is a dwarfling slang that all goblin races speak. When it comes to deities and demi-bros, you have an infinity of gods that you can come up with, but here you have some examples, because cults rise and fall like the seasons. When one god rises, another falls. Maybe you follow the teachings of the Dawn Star, that is DAWN, After killing the flesh gods, Dawnstar was heightened to god status himself, now known as mankind's keeper and the lord of the skies. Holy smiters pray to him. Temples and churches praise his name. Dawnstar can be seen gliding across the night sky, keeping watch over Neo-Terrax. But the truth is that Dawnstar is actually a sentient satellite that ended the war and still orbits the Earth and people pray to it. You also have Cthulhu. Yes, not Cthulhu, Cthulhu, one of the old gods worshipped before recorded time. Cults worshipping Cthulhu are frequent across the wasteland, for his return ushers in the end of Neo-Terrax. Cthulhu is the priest of the old gods. It is believed that if he wakes from his slumber, he will usher in the return of the elder gods and the end of humanoid kind as we know it. Legends speak of Lord Randy himself body slamming Cthulhu into eternal slumber, stopping Armageddon. And you have Lord Randy, of course, the Savage One, the king of the gods, and the last of the flesh gods. Randy sits upon the cosmic throne of eternity, where he casts down his judgments and wrath. Worshipped by anyone who takes up the sword and fights, Lord Randy was once a human that walked the earth in the time of the flesh gods, a man of great power. He was granted mankind's greatest award, the heavyweight championship belt. Praised by the soul priests, he is patron god of power, combat, bloodshed, and glory in battle. As you may have noticed, this is a tribute to Randy Savage. And these are just some of the deities in this crazy world of neon lords of the Toxic Wasteland. You are encouraged to come up with your own. And this concludes this part of the review. If you have any comments or questions, please let me know. As you can see, the character creation process is simple yet very involved and gnarly, quite radical in the choices. It is so awesome that your hairstyle, however psychedelic it may be, actually grants you an advantage in your adventures and battles. However, I also realized that when it comes to the bookmarks, they are incomplete. They take you through a decent chunk of the book, but it would be great if they are completed or fleshed out in an update. Well, thanks again for watching this video, and thank you so much to those of you that have been supporting the channel by sending drive-thru RPG gift certificates. If anyone else wants to further support the channel, the information on how to do that will be in the description below. Once again, thank you. I hope you will join me for part 3 of this review, because we are going to talk about character classes. You have an awesome time and see you later.